Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Dana Devine. I'm the Community Engagement and Communications Manager for the Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force right here in Chicago. Woo! We're doing amazing things, and we are really just supporting women who are uninsured, underinsured, or uninsured, helping them get mammography or clinical diagnostics. We are trying to bring the mortality rate for breast cancer down in Chicago, one woman at a time. And on that note, I just have to let you know right now, if you or anybody you know is in need of a mammogram, this is the information. Go get your pen and paper, write it down right now, 312-942-3368 or www.chicagobreastcancer.org. We're a non-for-profit organization. We're working so hard to end the disparity in breast cancer mortality between African American women or just women of color, basically. So, again, 312-942-3368 or visit our website, chicagobreastcancer.org. We're in the second quarter of the year, and are you taking care of yourself? We've been talking about it. Only you can advocate for you. Don't deny, verify. We've been talking about this year, let's see, we've been talking about singles and breast cancer. We've been talking about the new year and the new you, the new normal. And today we are talking about turning lemons to lemonade, okay? This is a live call-in show. And if you think you have something to say, I need you to call 312-738-1060. All right? 312-738-1060 if you have something you have to say. Okay. First, before we get started and I bring on my guest, we have a little housekeeping to take care of. Okay, I reminded you, after 10 years of action, the Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force has helped Chicago lead the nation in reducing breast cancer mortality rates for African American women. Boom. However, a study published very recently by the task force last month in April shows that breast cancer disparities are highest in women under 40 and between 40 and 49. So that means here in Chicago, African American women under 40 are more than 250% more likely to die of breast cancer compared to white women. Ooh, in addition, 40 to 49-year-old African American women are dying at 200%. That means 93 African American women under the age of 40 die every year because of inequity, and nearly 200 African American women between the ages of 40 and 49 die every year because of this inequity. So we're going to do something about it. So what we're going to do is join the Fierce Ladies of Pink, going down to Springfield to reach out to their legislators and demanding that the Illinois Breast and Cervical Cancer Program continue to be fully funded. We want to maintain the same level of funding as last year, at a little over $13 million. We need it. So I need you to call your legislators. It's very important. And think about your neighbors, think about your mother, think about your aunts, your sisters, your daughters. We need to keep this funding, especially it's benefiting the underserved woman. So I need to, right now though, I want to introduce our very, very special guest. She's an 8-year breast cancer survivor, a Chicago native. Everybody knows her. In fact, I'll talk about it. I was in New York and I looked up and saw her on one of the biggest billboards in New York. It's like, whoa, who is that? That's my girl. She's a celebrated entrepreneur. She's creative beyond creative. She has a line of hand-whipped spa products called Buttercup. Do you know what that is? She has blessed bracelets. I think every woman in the South Side of Chicago has one of blessed bracelets. And in 2012, she was featured on ABC 7, NBC 5, NBC Chicago, and Fox because of these amazing bracelets. And we're going to talk about those. Please put your hands together right now as she swings on into the camera for Erika Bracey. You know, we bring people in like an hour ahead of time to practice that. So she did a really good job. Good. Very good, Erika. You follow directions very well.
I try.
You look amazing.
Thank you, Dana. You do too.
So when you see like Erika Bracey, you don't think to yourself, breast cancer survivor.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know what that really means except that she's living a new normal and she's surviving. And that's really the message I have here to all of you, which is get screened. Because if you screen early, you get to live and enjoy your family for years. All right? So, Erika.
Yeah.
Talk to me. What's been going on, Erika?
Oh, nothing. Just, out here. Today I just came from blessing this young lady. Her name is Kim Slay. This was her last radiation treatment. So we had a celebration in the hospital.
Woo.
With Beyonce, Girls Rule the World. So
wow.
It was really a great moment for her. She had a bad morning, but when we got there with the balloons and the flowers and the dancing and just the acting crazy, celebrating her life, she was really, really excited. So, yeah.
So, that's what Erika Bracey does. She blesses women around the nation.
Around the country.
Around the country. So tell us how that got started and where that all came from.
Well, when I was diagnosed, I was scared, of course, and I had a big village to support me. But as I got to do my treatments, I met a lot of people that did not have the villages that I did. So I started making these bracelets to help women, to sell, to raise money to help women. So I did that, and it was cool. But then I said, you know what? I wanted to do something. I wanted to be a warrior for women. I wanted to work beyond the walls. So I decided. My friend created this alias called Brave Chick. And so he was like, you are a brave chick. I said, I am. And so I decided to go out. I didn't want to sit behind a desk and wait for people to call in. I wanted to actually go out in the community and hear real stories of real women. And every day is a celebration. So it's never like I'm coming. I mean, I've seen women that are in stage 4 that are literally in their deathbed, and we come in there like it's a party. So it's all about the moment. So we lift their spirits at that time. But my goal was to help women with their right now needs, because I felt that, tons of money is being raised annually for research. And that's great. But in the meantime, women are dying and suffering due to lack of access to resources, inferior imaging. There's so many disparities and barriers that are affecting the African American community. So I said, you know what? I want to raise money, and I want to, use myself. God gave me favor. And so I said, it's time for me to return the favor. So I decided to go out in the community, commission my friends and, strangers that I just met. And we're going to go out and we're going to surprise these people. They don't know we're coming. They have no idea who we are. We just show up at their door. We do some reconnaissance work first. And then we go and we bless them with whatever they need. 90% of the people need hope. So, and I'm sorry, 100% of the people need hope, so we go on it, we empower people if they don't have any type of financial needs, but it's all about, just finding ways to keep them in the ring and keep them, moving forward.
Well, how do you select your women?
Everybody is selected. So people will write into me, they'll utilize social media, Instagram, Facebook, and they'll say, hey, Brave Chick, I have this friend or my sister or whoever. So I'll ask them a couple of questions about them to find out what their story is. And then I'll have them do some little spidey detective work for me, and then we'll find out where they are. And then I'll surprise them. It could be at the hair salon, it could be at the restaurant, it could be at church, it could be at their homes, wherever it is. We flew to New York. We did 4 cities in 1 country in 4 days. My friend Marquita and I. That was what I did for my birthday one year. And we just blessed people. We went to some places we didn't know people, but literally we got on the phone and we were calling around and we found these women and who actually had a lot of needs. So we went and whatever the need was, we supplied it.
I love it. We got a caller.
Cool.
Hey, caller.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, my name is Mary, and I am a breast cancer survivor, 10 years.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mary. Woo!
Yeah. And the young lady, you looking good.
Thank you.
And I want to also give Susan G. Coleman credit too. Because when I got diagnosed in 2008, I had so much help. They paid my rent and everything, and got me a cab to take me back and forth to take my chemo because I was in the 3rd stage. I had 16 chemos and 36 radiations.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
When you were diagnosed, how long had it been since you had your mammogram before that?
Let me say again.
From the time that you were diagnosed, when had you had your last mammogram before that?
That's what I'm waiting on now. I got the papers to go take my mammogram again.
But I don't. let me ask you this question again.
Okay.
So you were diagnosed in 2010. Were you
2008.
did you
Yeah.
had you gone to have your mammogram screening prior to then?
Yeah, 2008. What happened was I got diagnosed in 2008. And my treatment, I went through a whole lot, and I can't remember the 2008. That's when I got diagnosed. Then after taking all these tests, So
Okay. Well, listen, Mary. This is what. Listen. Keep getting screened. Even though you make sure you still go every year. That's your obligation to yourself. And I'll just put this up here for you. If you know anybody who needs a mammogram, Mary, just tell them to call 312-942-3368. We are the Chicago Metropolitan Breast Cancer Task Force. But, we are helping uninsured women get free mammograms. And, that's what we can do. If you're uninsured or underinsured or just unsure, that's what we can do for women here in the Chicago metropolitan area. 312-942-3368. Cool. All right. Thanks, Mary, for calling in. If you have any more calls, 312-738-1060 if you have a call or something to say. So back to Erika. Erika, I heard you say that you had a lot of support when you went through. Let me ask you the same question. Sure. What was an early diagnosis?
Yes, I had my cancer was stage 1 when I found it, and I found it myself. And actually, I want to tell everybody that you have to be an advocate for yourself because my mammogram came up clear. I felt the lump. I went to get a screening, and it came up clear. They didn't see anything. I asked for ultrasound, and they said they didn't think I needed one. But I insisted on having an ultrasound, and that's where they actually took they didn't see it on the ultrasound, and then I was getting up off the table. I didn't see it on the monitor either. And I was getting up and I felt this pressure on my chest and it was like, Erika, you felt something. So I asked the lady, I said, can I just try to find it myself? She said, sure. I laid back, put my hand directly on it. She said, leave it there. She took a picture and she said, I'll be back. And I saw it appear right on the screen. The doctor came back and he said, you know what, I don't think it's anything, but we'll biopsy it. And 7 days later, I was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. ER positive. Yeah.
And when was the last time that you had been to have a mammogram?
I had a lump when I was actually 32 years old. So that was in 2003. And I found a lump, and that's how I knew to ask for an ultrasound because they did the mammogram, and then they ultimately found out it was a cyst through the ultrasound. And so that was it. And then I had to go every 6 months. And then after, I think, like 2 years, they said, come back when you're 40.
So, after your diagnosis?
After my diagnosis, I was terrified like everyone else. I thought the doctor was speaking Chinese, a language that I did not understand because I had no idea about vasectomies, lumpectomies, BRCA analysis. It was all a foreign language to me.
And you have to make so many very difficult choices immediately.
So, and they wanted to do a double mastectomy. She said that her younger patients, they usually go for a more radical type of treatment. And I said, wait a minute, let me think about this. So my mother, being in the healthcare industry, I was sat where I was. They diagnosed me. I said, I'm going to stay here. And my mother said, no, you're going to go someplace else. I was like, no, I'm going to stay here. For a second opinion. But I didn't want to do that because I felt that these were the people that diagnosed me, so they knew what I needed. And my mother said, Erika, you're going to another hospital. And she took me there. It was a teaching university. They greeted me. I talked to the whole medical team was waiting for me, and I decided to move over there. And what I felt now, looking back, is that my mother actually gave me access. And I realized that access is a problem in African American communities, especially if you live in an impoverished community, that there is a lack of access.
Yes.
We are not educated. There are lots of buildings going around, doing October with the pink ribbons, but there's no activation there. It doesn't make you do anything. It's just beautiful. It doesn't say, okay, let me go give me a mammogram. You just people love to wear pink. But I said, instead of wearing it, you need to know what the purpose of it is concerning you. how's it going to affect you, and what are you going to do about it? So I felt that, I had to learn to be my best advocate. My mother advocated for me. She gave me access. She said, no, this is a nice hospital. That's real nice where you are. But we're going to move over here because I want you to be at a teaching university. I want you to have the best treatment that you can possibly have. And not that hospital wouldn't have worked for me, but she said, I want you to be where research is done. I want you to be where, trials are being activated all the time. So I feel now that I understand cancer, because I didn't understand it. Now that I understand it, I said, I want to be, I'm glad that she made me go over there so that I can have more access.
So you had one hospital, which was, I guess you went to see your oncologist for the first person, and then you had a teaching hospital that had a team approach?
Yes.
Were both situations team approach, or just the one?
Well, they were both team approach, but my mother, I think, looked at it from, I'm in a community-based hospital, which is good. But if I can go to a teaching university, why wouldn't you go and get better, at that time, better care? Because she felt like it was, and not that it was, she just felt like, I want you to have all the options possible. Being a mother, just being a mother, like, I want my baby to have the best. So I still had a relationship, and actually the diagnosis, the second opinion, was in line with the first one. Only thing that they wanted me to do was take a BRCA that the first one did not, offer me. So I did end up taking the BRCA, and then we did the BART as well, just to make sure that I did not have that mutating gene. So I was pleased, but again, it was just the access that I got.
Right. Because the team approach really does...
you have to have a team approach.
Right. But that means your oncologist...
Primary care.
Right.
You have to have your surgeon,
Yep.
your oncologist, the radiologist if you need that there, and then there are patient navigators at some hospitals as well.
Which is what we do here at the task force. We are patient navigators. We will help you navigate your way through the situation.
Okay.
So, okay, all right, sounds good. Okay, so that was 8 years ago. In the middle of your diagnosis, what were you doing at the time?
Working, living, enjoying my life. I had just, my fiance had died from cancer when I was 32 years old, and I had started to live again and, just having a great time, and then I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. This is happening. So, but I decided that I was not going to let this one narrative define who I was going to become in the years, the many more years that I was going to have to live. Of course, like everybody else, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. But then I didn't want to die. So I had to change my mindset, and I had to be strong for other people. So I would go in the closet and cry, and then I would come out a warrior. And when people were around me, and when I felt the energy of sadness, I would say, go get yourself together, and then come back, So, but it was hard, but I kept living. I was living, I was working, I went to my radiation treatments. My aunt went with me, my family went with me to some things, and I was insistent on keeping some type of normalcy in my life.
So you kept working.
I kept working. I kept doing all the fun things. I kept laughing.
What?
I did some traveling. So I did everything that I wanted to do because I said, I want to live. So I didn't want to exist like I was dying, even though sometimes I felt like that, only from a mental perspective, because now I know at stage 1, 99% of the people are live.
Did you lose your hair?
No, I didn't have chemo, thank goodness. But if you do, just go through it, and people come out of it. But I had to have 39 rounds of radiation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And surgery.
And surgery, yes.
Okay, so you said that your fiance. Okay, let me rephrase it. How many years prior to your diagnosis had your fiance? How many years?
7 years.
Before you were diagnosed.
Before I was diagnosed. So when
I have a small theory that when I interviewed like 20 women, and it seemed like a little closer, like within the 2 years of their diagnosis, they really had some extreme trauma.
Well, let me tell you this. So I have that same theory, not for all cancers, but for me, I was under a lot of stress, and I had in 08 and 09. So with all the things that was going on in my life, I said, you know what? I always say, that's probably what gave me the cancer. Right. But again, I was living a cancerous life. I wasn't eating healthy, and I always say that the physical manifestation of cancer is one thing, but we have to address the actual cancers that are in our lives. Some of them can be relationships, some of them are diet, some of them are just family, some of them are, just environments. There's so many different cancers that people deal with in their lives, so you have to address the roots of those issues. For you to truly heal and recover, I think. Because after you have your treatment, that's one thing, but you still have to address, the emotional part, that you're going through.
So what did you learn about yourself?
Oh, I learned that I was a people pleaser. I love to please people, And one day I just woke up. I said, you know what? I'm gonna give everybody their baggage back because it doesn't belong to me anyway. I also learned that I have a powerful voice to me now, but at the time I did not. So I had to learn how to utilize my voice for the good of not just myself, but for others as well. So that was my gift that God gave me, because I said, I don't know if I could have done this being Erika. So Brave Chick, that's where she came about, in Different Shades of Pink, because she is everything that I wanted to be. And now being her, she gave me the courage to go out and be this person for other people, but also for me. So when I become Brave Chick, I'm empowering other people, but I'm empowering myself, as well.
And I recall you sharing the love about the Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force. I'm going to give you the number again. Listen, tell your story, Erika.
Sure.
I got a call one day from Erika.
Yes, I called recently, actually. A friend of mine called me and she said, Erika, I need a mammogram. And her mom was going through breast cancer, so she was freaking out about that. So I said, calm down. She said, where can I go? So I picked up the phone and called my friend Dana Devine. And I said, Dana, I need to get my friend a mammogram. I said, does the task force do that? She said, absolutely, they do. So she said, give me her information, tell her to call me. She called. She said, you were so pleasant. You referred her to someone at the task force.
Yeah.
They scheduled her. They asked her a series of questions. She had to fill out a form. And then they scheduled her mammogram. And then they called up for a follow-up as well, which I really love when she told me that, because that's one thing that we need. You need follow-up, and that's something that some of us don't do. So you need that extra push, that other person is advocating for you.
That's right.
So I love the idea, the whole mission behind the task force and how it did help my friend, and I'm sure it helps so many other people.
So many other women. And again, I'm going to give you that information just one more time because it's so very important. If you or somebody if you're unsure, if something doesn't feel right, or you just are losing a little sleep because you just feel like something is not right. 312-942-3368 or www.chicagobreastcancer.org. Don't deny, verify.
Yes. Yes.
Remember, early detection saves lives 99% of the time. And 80% of lumps, did she have a lump?
No.
80% of lumps found are not cancerous.
She did have a lump, but it wasn't cancerous. I'm sorry. She did, but it was not.
Right.
Yeah.
There we go. She had a lump. She called the task force. She was concerned. She took care of what she needed. She had her testing done, and it was nothing.
Yes.
Yes. So again, that's what we're here for. The Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force. Don't deny, verify. 312-942-3368. Erika, before you slide out of here, please tell Chicagoland, your friends, your fans, because you got a lot of them out there, what they can be looking forward for. I know you're writing a book.
I am writing a book. I am almost done. I'm at the end of the editing process, so hopefully between this year and next year it will be out. Yeah.
And I hear
It's gonna be exciting.
You're bon voyaging as soon as you walk out of here.
I am. I'm going on a much needed vacation.
Amen.
To see our people. So I'm excited.
Where are you going
to Morocco.
Morocco. All right. Well, listen, thank you so very much for joining us here today. I think this is the most pertinent information you may know all day. And remind your loved ones to get a mammogram and remind them that they don't have to walk this journey alone. You can call the Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force, and we will assist you with getting your mammography screening. 312-942-3368, www.chicagobreastcancer.org. I want to thank my lovely producer, Donna Lynn Schaefer, as she makes it happen for me all the time. Music producer Maurice Joshua, and most of all, I want to thank the Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force for making this happen. Erika Bracey for stopping by and putting this on your calendar.
My pleasure.
And sharing your story, because your testimony might be the most important thing you say all day. So thank you again. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. We'll see you back here next month, the third Tuesday of the month. And until then, you be real blessed, and bless you, Erika.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.